What's up guys, it's Kayla. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over how I got diagnosed with celiac, things I can and can't eat, and then I'm going to do like a little Q&A at the end because I asked some of you guys what questions you guys all have, and I got a lot of them and some really good ones, so I'll go over that too. So first, let's start off with what is celiac? That's probably everyone's main question. And celiac is an autoimmune disease, which is a disease that affects your autoimmune system. There is no cure to celiac, unfortunately, and you basically have it for forever, basically until you die. Celiac also means you go completely gluten-free, which means you cut gluten completely out of your diet. You also cannot catch celiac and is genetic. So some of you guys might be wondering, what is gluten? Gluten is a protein found in wheat, and some foods I can't eat are things that have flour in it, so like cake, cookies, anything that you make that contains flour, such as like pretzels, pizza, bread, pasta. But at the same time, there also is a lot of gluten-free options, such as Barilla gluten-free pasta, or there's gluten-free bread. There's a lot of things that are gluten-free now, which is amazing and is a lifesaver for me. Some symptoms of celiac symptoms can vary from person to person. So some symptoms can be abdominal pain, GI issues, diarrhea, vomiting, fatigue, anemia, weight loss, and fevers. Since I've gone through what is celiac, what's gluten, some symptoms, let's go into my story. So this was in the middle of 2019. I started having a lot of health issues, and like my health started to like go down a bit. I was starting to have headaches. I fainted a couple times. My iron was really low, so I was anemic at the time. During this time, I was also still in school, so that was really hard, having all these health issues. We went to so many different doctors because we could not figure out what was wrong with me. Like, they tested me for so many things because I was getting bad headaches all day. Like, I could not sit in class because of the fluorescent lights that were there, so I was sitting outside, which meant I was missing a lot of class. And obviously that's not good. So I had to see a lot of different doctors for this because no one could figure it out. We thought like there might have been something wrong with my brain because I was getting really bad headaches. I got an MRI for that. Everything came back normal. I went to go see a neurologist for that. I would see my pediatrician like almost every week or almost every 2 weeks for like a couple of months because like no one could figure out what was wrong with me. I was just like so lethargic. I had no energy. There would be times where I could not go to school without like falling asleep because that's how tired I was. So I'd come home and I would just sleep for hours until it was about dinner time, which is like that's not like what a normal person does. Like there was just something wrong. Like I just wasn't acting the same either. All my teachers like thought like there was something like really, really wrong with her, and like no one knew. I was getting oral thrush, which I had to go see an immunologist for that, an infectious disease. And then I think I saw a hematologist. I'm not really sure about that. But like I was getting oral thrush, so like they didn't know what was causing it. They're like, that's just like, we don't know. So I was getting a lot of tests done. I like got MRIs. I got a bunch of blood work done to like see if there was something wrong. And one night my pediatrician called, and he was like, called my mom and was like, hey, we got Kayla's blood work back and she tested positive for celiac antibodies, which is the test you normally get to see if you have any antibodies of celiac. And so we got that and we're like, oh my gosh, so is this an answer finally? I was also having really bad stomach aches. They weren't stomach aches and they weren't cramps, like menstrual cramps. It was more of like a stomach ache, but it just stays there and it's just like throbbing, shooting pain that just like stays there. And we're like, okay, we need to go to the GI doctor. And also because we found out I tested positive for antibodies for celiac. So the GI doctor was like, the only way to find out if you really do have celiac is to do an endoscopy, where they basically stick a camera down your throat and look at your small intestines. While they're like in your small intestines, it takes pictures, and they're also grabbing biopsies to send to the lab. So in your small intestines, you have these little things called villi, and with someone who has celiac, their villi will be gone because celiac just like wipes them away basically every time you have gluten. So mine were like kind of worn down and stuff. So it was like kind of like this instead of like this. And villi are used to absorb nutrients from the foods you eat. And we figure out that's why I was so anemic, because my villi weren't absorbing all that nutrients I needed for my body. They sent my biopsies to the lab, and it confirmed I do have celiac. So the doctor was like, the only thing to do is to go on a completely gluten-free diet, which that meant you cut gluten out of your diet completely. So I'm on a gluten-free diet. I don't have gluten anymore, like cut it completely out. My family can still have gluten, but I just can't. It could take up to 5 to 7 years to get gluten completely out of your system. One thing is, there could still be a way I can consume gluten, and that's by cross-contamination, which is a terrible thing. Another one is, say you use the toaster. Say you toast a non-gluten-free bagel, and you don't tell me that you use the toaster, or you don't put it into the sink, and just leave it there thinking I'll be fine. And I put a gluten-free bagel in there, and I eat it, and that's a problem, because that toaster has been contaminated with gluten. So in that case, every time someone uses a toaster that doesn't have stuff that contains stuff that had gluten in it, we gotta take out the rack and we gotta wash it before I use it. Okay, so now on to the Q&A part. So the first question is, what fast food places can you go to? I can go to Chick-fil-A, I can go to In-N-Out. For Chick-fil-A, I would just get the grilled nuggets with the waffle fries, because the waffle fries are fried separate from everything else. And then at In-N-Out, I get a double protein style, which basically means there's no bun, and the bun is basically lettuce. So for In-N-Out, what they have to do is I have to tell them I have celiac, which means I'm allergic to gluten. In-N-Out is really, really good about it. I've not gotten sick by them yet. Knock on wood, wherever there's wood in my room. I've not gotten sick yet because they are really good about it. So what they have to do is everyone has to change their gloves out. Everyone's got to wash their hands. They have to clean the grills off and like anything they're using to prepare my food on. So that's basically what they have to do to make sure I don't get sick. The next question is, what places can you not eat at? So some places I can't eat at are Wendy's, Ruby's, Popeyes, Raising Cane's, KFC, McDonald's, things that don't have gluten-free options. Like, I know it might say gluten-free, but you don't know for sure if that thing is gluten-free because it could still have traces of gluten in it. It can still be contaminated with things that have gluten. The next question is, what happens if you eat gluten? So, if I eat gluten, I will get a really, really bad stomach ache. Like I explained before, like, it's like a cramp and like a stomach ache combined together that just like stay there until the food leaves my small intestines. Or like they leave my body in general. So it could take between an hour to 5 hours, depending on how long it takes for my food to digest and come out, basically. And if it's bad enough, I will throw up. Another question is there a cure for it? No, there is no cure for it. You just basically have it. Is there anything you can take, like meds for it? Such as if you're lactose intolerant, you take lactate pills. For celiac, they do not have that. hopefully the celiac foundation, which is an amazing foundation, can find something for it. I know it's really not curable right now, but let's hope in the future. Next question is it painful to have it? It is not painful to have it. Unless I eat gluten, it is not painful at all. I mean, if you say painful meaning like not being able to eat certain foods, I'm kind of used to it now, so it's not that bad. What foods do you miss the most that you can't have? Ooh, cookie dough ice cream, buttermilk bread, cake, cupcakes. Okay. What's the worst thing you had to deal with being celiac or having celiac? The worst thing was I was working at this one camp, and basically for lunch was provided because we would go to the cafeterias, and basically I told them I have a gluten allergy and I can't have any gluten. So they made me some things that were not gluten free, such as they gave me gluten free pasta. They claimed the pasta they gave me was gluten free, which it obviously wasn't, and I got sick like 3 times eating there because like I worked there like all summer last year, and I was getting sick, so I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm over it. I will just start bringing my own lunch. So I think that was the worst time. Next one is, how long have you known that you've had celiac? So I found out January of 2019. How bad was the experience on a scale of 1 to 10? Experience meaning like the whole process of getting diagnosed with it. I'd say like a 10 because it was a lot to handle. It was a lot of a lot of doctor visits. It was just hard leading up to knowing that I have celiac, but now it's not bad at all. There's some pros to being allergic to gluten. So one thing was I noticed my skin cleared up. Like I used to have really bad acne, but ever since I cut out gluten, my skin has gotten so much clearer. I'm more aware of the things that I put into my body, and I read food labels way more. Like I never used to read them, but now I have celiac, you have to read them to look at the ingredients. There are also some really cool apps that's helped me. One of them is called GF Scanner. Basically, you can scan barcodes on foods. So, for example, if I scan like a regular box of like Goldfish or Cheez-Its, it would obviously come up saying contains gluten and don't eat it. But if I scan something like gluten-free pretzels, it would come up saying they're gluten-free and I'm okay to eat them. So I think those are all the questions. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions. I really enjoyed answering all of them, and I was super excited to make this video. So yeah, so now you guys know my journey of getting diagnosed with celiac. I will be doing a video in the future on what I eat in a week with celiac, so like you guys can see. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, you're subscribed down below, and have that bell turned on. With that being said, see you guys in the next video.